It seemed like the best of times for Harry S. Truman. Bursting with optimism, he returned to Missouri from World War I a hero, and would soon launch Truman and Jacobson, a men's clothing store, in June of 1919, just a few days before he married Bess Wallace of Independence. The location of the store was excellent, on 12th Street, in the heart of downtown Kansas City. Truman and his partner, wartime buddy Eddie Jacobson, worked well together, and revenue was strong at first. But the young company was not immune to economic downturn. Sales dropped off steeply in the recession of 1921, and the partners were forced to close up shop. Harry Truman was 37 years old, a newlywed, with no job and a pile of debt. He had been a farmer, a railroad timekeeper, a bank clerk. He led an artillery unit into battle, and now he had failed in business. He had few prospects. He would soon, however, find his calling in public service. His rise in politics was both improbable and meteoric. He started with the blessing and support of the Pendergast political machine, running for Jackson County Court judge, and won in 1922. Truman quickly built a reputation as a builder of roads and bipartisan relationships, and respect for him grew. He ran for U.S. Senate in 1934.
Thank you very much.
Even his oldest friends did not think he'd win.
Of course I supported him, raised some money. We scratched for dimes and nickels, but we didn't give him a chance. We expected him to be beaten, and beaten badly. A.J. Granoff.
Mr. Mayor, distinguished guests, I'm very happy.
Against the odds, Truman campaigned tirelessly across the state of Missouri and won. It was the first of many upset victories for Harry S. Truman. With World War II raging on two fronts, Truman's surprising rise continued when the Democratic Party nominated him to run as Franklin D. Roosevelt's running mate in 1944. True to form, Senator Truman campaigned vigorously and helped the ailing FDR win an unprecedented fourth election as president. Within weeks of Truman swearing in as vice president, disaster would strike. The sudden death of Franklin Delano Roosevelt on April 12, 1945, thrust Truman into the Oval Office. His first months there would prove to be the most critical and relentlessly paced of any presidency before or since.
Both Germany and Japan can be certain that America will continue to fight for freedom until no vestige of resistance remains.
We must learn to live together in peace.
The forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations.
Let's not forget that we are fighting for peace and for the welfare of mankind.
By August of 1945, U.S. forces surround Japan. Yet the land of the rising sun refuses to yield. A conventional invasion would cost both sides countless lives. A blockade could take months. In a decision which remains controversial to this day, President Truman orders the use of the world's first atomic bomb, striking the city of Hiroshima on August 6, 1945. 3 days later, a second is dropped on Nagasaki. Never will he voice second thoughts, nor lose any sleep over his choice to use every resource at his command, despite thousands of civilian casualties. In less than a week after the Nagasaki raid, Japan surrenders.
An iron curtain has descended across the continent.
The Soviet Union and its agents have destroyed the independence and democratic character of a whole series of nations in Eastern and Central Europe.
In 1947, to promote good relations with our war-torn European allies, Truman champions the Marshall Plan and its unprecedented amount of economic aid, facilitating Western Europe's recovery and that region's continued resistance to the spread of communism. By initiating the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, he also assures America's allies that the U.S. will stand with them if they are attacked. NATO establishes a firm line of defense in Europe that has never been crossed. In May of 1948, Israel proclaims its hard-won independence. Truman's longtime friend Eddie Jacobson convinces the president to override the advice of many in his administration, and the United States becomes the first nation to recognize the new Jewish state. Throughout the post-war United States, civil rights are beginning to advance, one modest step at a time. Unfortunately, the American military remained segregated, and this deeply troubled the president. So a year after Jackie Robinson breaks the color line in Major League Baseball, Harry Truman, through a simple executive order, declares that all people of all colors and creeds can serve their country with honor, dignity, and equality.
Senator Barkley and I'll win this election and make these Republicans like it. Don't you forget that. I am therefore calling this Congress back into session on the 26th of July.
Re-elected is Harry Truman, who fought his way against every political sage in the world and won to victory.
Following the most tumultuous years of any president in U.S. history, in January of 1953, Harry and Bess Truman came home to independence.
I'm in the army of the unemployed now. A very small army, and I'm here to tell you that a little later on, when I get the job done that Mrs. Truman has for me, which she says I'm going to have to do, that's to unpack all our goods and chattels. And it took about 7 or 8 men 3 months to get it done, so I don't know how long it's going to take one man to get it undone. After that, I'll be open for dinner engagements and things of that kind, because I may be hungry for that time. We do thank you immensely for this wonderful welcome. I don't see how anybody in the world could have a better one. Thank you very much.
Just a few months later, friends from all chapters of Harry Truman's life, his boyhood, his time in the Army, his years in local politics, gathered together at the Mulebach Hotel in Kansas City to celebrate the ex-president's birthday and the good works of their humble friend. With Truman's death in 1972, the Truman Good Neighbor Award Foundation was launched to honor the president's legacy and continue celebrating his birthday. In Truman's memory, the foundation provides scholarships for college students pursuing degrees in international relations and public service. International students attend the annual luncheon as the foundation's guests as well. To honor Truman's military service, each year the foundation awards the Philip Pastilli Silver Veterans Medal to members of the military who have served our nation and their communities with distinction. The foundation continues to honor and provide a platform for leaders of the era. The Harry S. Truman Good Neighbor Award has been bestowed upon journalists, public servants, educators, military leaders, and entertainers, and each has graced this stage with opinions, stories, and respect for Harry S. Truman.
President Harry Truman is the living, kicking symbol of what everyone likes about America.
I remember so well hearing him at the university commencement at Howard University in the summer of 1952, when he was the president and when he spoke out against segregation in the Army and when he called on equality of education, equality of military service, and all the rest.
Harry Truman brought courage, imagination, and unbeatable determination to the job of leader of the free world, and the world was a better place for it.
The simple virtues that he grew up with and lived by were coupled with an incredibly fine mind and a steel spine.
I have on my desk at the court a little wooden piece that I bought at the Truman Library when I first visited it, when Mr. Zobrist Sr. over here was heading that, and it says the buck stops here.
It isn't just that Harry Truman was a devoted and proud citizen of Independence, Missouri, or Kansas City, Missouri, or Jackson County, or Missouri, or the United States, but that Harry Truman became a citizen of the world. And he understood that that is exactly what we all must be, citizens of the world.